Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the IS Internship Program YouTube channel. I'm Haley, and on today's episode, we will be speaking with Avi. Hi, Avi. How are you doing today?
Hey Haley, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm pretty good. So to start off this video, can you tell us more about yourself, your current position, maybe how you found out about the internship program?
Yeah, sure. So my current position, I'm currently working here as a full-time employee with the app dev team. It's the application development and integration department, and there are two teams within that department. So we have the first team as application development, and the another one is as integration. So I'm working as a colleague under application development team, and current position I'm on is app dev 2. That's and my roles and responsibilities are like it varies. It's like since we have just 8 members in the team, so we get to play different like roles, and we get to hear we get to wear many hats, irrespective of the fact whether I'm because I do UI UX as well. So sometimes I get to get to work on the UI UX segment, because sometimes the development, sometimes the SharePoint. So yeah, I get to work on many things. Speaking of when I got hired as an intern, it was back in 2018 when I applied here. First of all, you know what, how I got to hear about this opportunity. So that is something I applied through USC Connect or Connect SC. They call it Connect SC for the student portal, since I was doing my master's in computer science here at USC. So I applied from there. I was also applying in other companies as well. So I applied from there, and then I came to know like Jonathan, the internship coordinator. He reached out to me regarding for the interviews, for the interview of the position, and I faced around 3 to 4 interviews. And yeah, it was a seamless process, and I think they recently started with the internship program at that point of time, and I was the first few initial batch students which got hired as an intern. So we got an opportunity to work in different teams at that point of time, since we had since we were interns. So it was they put it on us whether you want to work on this team or that team. If let's say I also had the opportunity to work on the security team, I also had the opportunity to work on the data team, right, and the app dev team, but I gave interview just for the app dev team. So it was quite flexible. And the thing is, since they gave us that opportunity to work on different teams, it means there was the chances of growth, and the growth rate is pretty high, since
Right.
you interact with different teams. I used to interact with many directors and many managers, and then work on different variety of projects, like dozens of projects. I worked almost on I worked here for as an intern for 1 year and 1 month. So it was a lot of projects. It was pretty exciting, working here and getting the first-hand experience with full-time employees, and the real industry specific thing when you're fresh out of college, and then or fresh out of school. You need to know how to deliver the projects to the stakeholders or the customers, and then live up to their expectations, considering all the statement of work and business requirements, everything. So it was pretty exciting. Yeah.
Wow, yeah. And I think that's something that I love too about this team, is that you have access to so many different other departments and fields, and you discover, or you're in app development, and without Keck, who knows, where you would be if you would be in app development or something else.
Yeah.
For the folks out here that are watching that don't know what UI UX stands for or what it means, can you go more into depth about what that means?
UI UX is just user interface and user experience. So what that means is, if let's say you visit a site, so you might be appealed by how the images which the site has used, or the font or the color and everything else on the site, right?
Oh,
So the
okay.
person who decides that, who lays the mock-up and who lays the wireframe, or uses different tools, maybe Figma, Canva, or maybe Sketch, many things. So that is the person responsible for UI UX development. Just to clarify on that, it's just 5 or 10%, 5 or 10%. I allocate my time to UI UX, but that's not majorly which I spend my time on. Since I took one of the courses in USC under Professor Jaime Levy. So she is like one of the pioneers in UI UX industry. So
Mhm.
yeah, I have I know, and I also do, it's a passion for me to do graphic designing, having the knowledge of all the Adobe Creative Cloud tools and products. So that's why I help them with the UI UX as well.
Got it. And since you joined in 2018, that was
Mhm.
obviously before COVID. And I want to ask, how was it being in the office? Because I have been virtual. I've loved it, being virtual and everything, but I really want to hear about your experience in person.
Mhm.
Um, what was your favorite part? Do you like working virtually now instead of going in person? What are your thoughts?
No, I believe, having interacting with colleagues, that's the major and one of the best experience which I had. You get to, you get to know each other, irrespective of the fact, like we have around, at that point of time, we have around 5 members in the team. And I was the fifth member as an intern, right? So it's not like I just knew those 5 members, but right now, if you're working remote, then there are, less chances to interact with other team members. So I used to know each and every member of other teams. For example, in your team also, at that point of time, admin ops, AST team, the team
Yeah.
which you are in currently. So I know like all the members, Jane, Massey, Jonathan, and Nadine was as an intern at that point of time. And there is Chad also. He is in another team. He was actually part of AST in the past. So that is like interaction with colleagues. That's my major takeaway. But apart from that, you get the experience of extracurricular activities, not just focused on the stuff you got masters in or bachelors in. But apart from that, you get to interact with maybe we used to have Halloween parties,
Mhm.
the Thanksgiving parties, and then you get to interact. There are chances to be part of the committees, which you'll never find via emails. So, for example, Good Neighbors campaign, you might have heard about that, and then the Keck Ambassador program. So that's another one, a good one. And they right now they're rolling out with many other things, but yeah, I think having in-person experience is totally different from the virtual experience. I'm not saying virtual experience is bad, but in person is you get to make more contacts, and you get to get to have the experience of a real one-to-one person like interaction. So that's something which well, if I were given a chance, I would do a hybrid approach right now. I
Yeah.
would maybe go 3 days in office and 2 days work from home, but yeah, that's what I would do right now.
Yeah, and I know that the IS team has a picnic, right? They have a
That's
picnic,
another
I
thing.
think, in the spring,
Yeah,
which I haven't attended. I want to go this year, but
yeah.
yeah. So I agree with you though. Having a hybrid would be perfect. If you asked me that before COVID, I'd say, oh yeah, in person. Like I'd want to be in person, but I do get some of the perks of being virtual and things like that. I know that you said you enjoy going in person, but is there anything that you enjoy right now working virtually?
No, no, absolutely. There are many, benefits of working virtually as well. So you get, it's not like you have to, because in office, first of all, everyone would, acknowledge that. The thing is, if you're visiting office, you have to drive, right? You have
Yeah.
to drive, and 1 hour driving for me, I live in Reseda, so I have to drive from Reseda to LA. So that's almost 1 hour. And in the morning, it's all, it's LA traffic, so it's too much. And then coming back like it's all in the past I used to be totally tired and nothing else. It's just the office work and nothing else apart from that. But right now what happens is I do the work, and even if I have to do the work after 4:30, which is which is the time which I actually when I actually sign off the system, but if I have to do that work after that, I'm not really that tired,
Mhm.
since I took off my driving hours, right? And then the meetings which I have, those are since because of the technology, the way Microsoft team evolved in the past, like it was in the initial phases when we were working in office, but then everything took off. The COVID pandemic came in, so the Microsoft Teams that actually added more functionalities, because of which it doesn't feel like you are far away. Still you are virtual, but still you are not that far away. I can see you, you can see me, and then we can talk in person. So there are good stuff. There are like There are disadvantages as well, but yeah, I think more or less the things are going pretty well right now.
Yeah, and I love Teams, honestly. I feel like it's so user friendly and it's helped me connect with people and it's pretty easy to use. So thank God for Teams. But speaking of driving times, driving an hour is a long time. Um, Take me back to 2018, let's say. How was managing your time as a student worker, at school, doing work and going home? How was that?
Oh my God, I'll tell you something. So, oh, back in 2018, I was in my final semester. Like
Okay.
before even I worked here as an intern for almost 1 year and 1 month. I worked here as an intern, right? So that encompasses 2 semesters from the student life's perspective, right? So third semester and fourth semester, I was doing my master's, right? In third semester, I was just in one internship program. Like I was just working for one organization, which was Keck Medicine of USA as an intern, right? And I was just allowed to work for 20 hours on a weekly basis, right? But then in the fourth semester, I took another internship, which is again for 20 hours. So it's 40 hours, right? And now I have 40 hours of work, plus I have 2 courses, which I need to take. And now what's happening is I have courses in the UPC campus on different timings. You know how the timings works, right? So on different timings, I have the courses on the UPC campus, and then I have to come to the SODO office
Hmm.
for the 20 hours of work on a weekly basis, and I have to see my hours accordingly. And then I have to go to the 7th Street main downtown LA for my third internship, for my second
Oh, wow.
internship. And on a single day, there used to be days when I had both the classes, and then I have 40 hours over here. Like I have both the internships on the same day. So at that point of time, I was just a student. I didn't have car at that point of time. So I had to, sometimes I have to take Uber, sometimes I have to take Lyft. Sometimes I used to, most of the time I used to take the subway, the metros, the red line. But yeah, the other I used to get reimbursed for the Uber or the
Oh,
cars
okay.
which with the other company. So it was helpful, but yeah, still like that was too much. I used there was homework from like this school work which professors gave usually, right? So we have to take we have to consider those as well, and the office work also. There are deadlines for the office work as well as an intern also. Then it was hectic. I used to work a lot, like sometimes late night as well. But yeah, I think everything paid off and after once I got the job.
Definitely. I mean, obviously, the team and Keck saw that you could manage your time with all these responsibilities, and now you have your position now. Um, wow, I can't imagine doing that. I have a totally different experience, with being virtual, and my classes are still virtual too. So, but I mean, for me, I kind of like being busy, like having that fast pace.
Yeah.
Um, did you, even though it was, I guess, kind of difficult, did you like being kind of busy and like having like, you know
Hmm.
a lot on your plate, I guess?
Yeah. No, I think yeah, that is, if you'll not keep yourself busy,
Mhm.
if you'll not keep your mind occupied, then then you'll it's a very basic principle, right? If you have an electrical instrument, right, if you'll not use it, then it'll be corroded after some time.
Right.
So you'll
Okay.
so it's better that you use your brain every other day, and you don't keep it like empty. You don't keep it in a resting position. So I feel like uh, that hard work, which for in the last specifically in the last 6 months, which I did with both the internships and the courses as well, that hard work was that hard work really paid off, and because of which I got to know how to handle the customer satisfaction, because the other internship which I was in, so over there were only 2 developers, one me as an intern and the other person, that's it.
Mhm.
So the other person went to vacation, so it's like just me, and I was pretty new with the system and everything, but still I had to handle all those things. And over here we have other many projects, like not just 1 or 2 projects. At that point of time also we had around dozens of projects which were in the queue. So taking on of the projects, and starting, I actually started with handling the SharePoint segment, not the custom development, like just handling the SharePoint segment. So when I started with the SharePoint segment, we were more into the on-prem environment and the on-classic, like it's the old environments, right? On-classic experience environment. So, so I used to create sites, the sites, the SharePoint sites here at Keck Medicine of USC. I used to create sites, and then I used to, create custom web parts, or just so those are the custom functionalities just within SharePoint using different technologies like SPFX and all those things. But yeah, it was pretty fun at that point of time. And then I learned from my seniors, my team members, and then if like the team is pretty helpful, they are really helpful. Not just for this team, not just for the team I'm working in, every team in the organization, they're really helpful. If you have any questions directly, feel free to reach out to any one of those. So it's they'll help you in any situation. If let's say if I have any server related issues, then I'll go to server send team, which is, I think Carlos is the director, Angelo, I believe. Yeah, sorry about that. Angelo is the director. So I'd go to him, right? If I have any database related questions, so I'll go to the database team, right? So they are pretty helpful with all those things. And if you don't know anything, it's not like you are on your own. Just speak with anyone, and they'll be able to help you out with that.
Right. And I feel like something that I've learned too is like always ask questions, even if you think it's a dumb
True, yeah.
question. That's what they're there
It
for.
really doesn't matter. For you, it might be dumb, but it's like, if you'll not ask these questions now, then after 1 year, if you'll ask these questions after 1 year, then they'll ask you, like, you've been here for 1 year. What have you done in 1 year? So it's better that if you have a question, ask that right now itself.
Exactly. Don't be afraid, because you could risk looking, like you don't know what you're talking about. So I remember when I started, I asked so many questions. I was bugging Jonathan like every minute, like asking questions.
He is super, 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 super helpful. And I think he's one of the best mentors I have ever had. And he knows what the situation of a student is from the students, academic point of view, and the work and academic life balance. So he knows everything, and he's one of the nicest persons I've ever met.
Me too. Yeah, I agree. I work directly under him, and I feel like so grateful that I work with him. He was very timely in his responses, and he always helps me when I need help. And I totally agree. And I think everyone that I've met through this program has been so incredibly welcoming, nice, helpful. And that's what I love about this program. Something else that I love, and you probably have experienced this in the past, is the flexibility. You're like, yep.
I know. Like when I said I had 2 internships, I was working here, and the other one, it's just because of the flexibility which Jonathan provided me.
Yes.
So that's why I was able to accomplish that. Otherwise, it's not even feasible to have those, because there are meeting schedules and everything, and working with the client, working with the stakeholders or the clients' deadlines. So everything Jonathan handled for us. So that's pretty flexible, and that is something which you'll not achieve in many of the organizations, which you'll not get anywhere else. So yeah, that's one of the best things of the internship program.
Exactly. And they understand that you're a student and you have a lot on your plate. So yeah, that's something that I really like too. Did you, when you were in the program, did you change your schedule every week, or did you have a consistent schedule? Because that's what I really liked when I started, is that I was able to create my own schedule and, make it to my liking, I guess, working around my school schedule.
Yes. It's like I tried to be consistent across my schedule, but the thing is, it's not hard, right? You can change it. So if, let's say, this week I have classes in student life, or when you're in student life, you don't know when the other lecture might be, right? So you might need to take some extra lectures with the professor, or maybe with the TAs, or with the course organizer and anyone else, right? So with this internship, there this flexibility of deciding your on a weekly basis. I used to reach out to Jonathan that next week I can come on these dates, right? So he was pretty okay with this. He just used to tell me like, Monty, is he aware about this? He's my manager right now as well, and in the past also he was my manager. So is he aware about this? Is he okay with this? I said, okay, yeah, he's fine with it. So unless you deliver the stuff which you are responsible for working on, and then the deadlines, you don't miss those deadlines, I think everyone is good.
Exactly. I agree. As long as you do your work, then it's fine. And did you, I know you mentioned, did you work the 20 hours, the max 20 hours, or did you?
Yes.
Yeah, you did. I do too.
Yeah, max. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I enjoy it too. It's not like, oh gosh, I have to work 20 hours. Not at all.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. It's fun. It's not, I'll be honest with you, it's not like you have to, work for 20 hours. Obviously, yes, you can, if let's say some weeks you just have time for 10 hours. So yes, you can work for 10 hours as well. But even if you're working for 20 hours, then uh, the work is not that hectic being a student worker or being an intern, right? It's not that hectic. So it's better that why not you consume your 20 hours and then complete your MHA. In your case, it's going to be MHA. So it's better that you consume all your 1000 hours or 20 hours every week, just so you can complete your 1000 hours in a timely way or pretty fast.
Exactly. And I do want to ask you, so since joining the program to now, how have you grown? And how has what you've learned helped you in your current position?
That's a good question. So uh, I did my bachelor's. I'll start from my bachelor's. I did my bachelor's. I came here directly from a master's. I didn't had any work experience, just the internship experiences. So I did one of like two internships in my bachelor's, and then two internships over here, and a few side projects which I used to do. So not real like corporate experience. I never had that.
Mhm.
So I got the corporate experience when I started here as a full-time employee. That's the first time I got the full-time like staff experience. But before that, as an intern, like the stuff which we develop, being a developer, when I was an intern over here, the stuff which I develop. So I just used to think if let's say you are a customer and you used to come, you'll come to me and say me like, I need this website, right? I'll just create a site for you, irrespective of the fact, because I do not have that kind of experience, right? Irrespective of the fact that um, I'll not consider the optimization of the site. I'll not consider the architect of the site, like all those details which are actually needed in the software development life cycle. Uh, so I'll never consider that because I never had the experience on that, right? So
Mhm.
that's the same case for most of the students. They never had the experience of the industry. They never had the industry experience. They're fresh, graduates from university. So they come to the so that's why we have these internship programs. They come to these kind of internship programs and they work with the experienced developers who have 10 or 15 or 20 years of experience and they are sitting in the team. You work with them, you get to see them what exactly like how the workflow is, right? So there are sprints which we used to do, right? I never experienced that in the past in the school, right? So it's better that so when I got hired here as a full-time employee and even as part of the internship program, then sorry about that.
It's okay.
So so yeah, so the thing is in essence, um, from internship to full-time, I get to know like there are many things in which I evolved. First of all, I get to know the major thing is customer satisfaction.
Mhm.
That's I used to think like whatever like we can do everything. I used to think we can do everything. Like being a developer, you can achieve everything, right? But it's 100% true. You can do anything, but when you have 10 projects, you need to prioritize which project you need to go to, right? You don't want to commit anything. If you commit anything, I used to commit like in the internship program, I can do this, I can do this, like
Yeah.
next week I'll give it to you. I gave it to them, but it doesn't mean like that means I had to work more than 20 hours. I had to work over the nights as well. So that is something which they taught me like over the years, which I experienced. And this is not something which you'll eventually get. This is something which you'll get over when you'll have a couple of years of experience, when you'll interact with many people. You need to prioritize your stuff, whatever you're working on, and whatever you commit, make sure you commit it before thinking on it, like
Right.
for at least 30 minutes or 1 hour or many days, if not be, then commit anything. Otherwise, because if your name is attached to something, that needs to be of highest quality, right?
Right.
You cannot deliver something without like the low quality stuff. So obviously the customers will not come again. That's another aspect. but yeah, you need to deliver the products which are of high quality, and for that you need to you need to you need to learn how to say no. That's another thing.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
something which comes, but it comes with years, so it doesn't. Yeah.
Yes, and you brought up so many great points. I know that interns, especially when they're starting, are very ambitious. I know that I always tell myself, always say yes, always say yes. Especially we're young, we have time, like just say yes to everything. And I think it's important. Jonathan sometimes will ask me, "Oh, I want you to work on this. Are you sure like
Yeah.
you can do it? You have time?"
Yeah.
And he really allows me to think like, do I have time to do this? So I think that's very important, but at the same time, don't be that person that says no to everything.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to be that person. If you have 20 years, just justify your 20 years. You shouldn't be like, you said no to 100, like 10 of the projects which came to you, and then you're trying to justify that I did this or that,
Mhm.
but you as in essence you haven't done anything, right? So you have to decide on which project you need to take on, or and the another thing is, always take that question. If let's say a project takes 20 hours, right, to complete, a very minor project take 20 hours, uh, 20 hours of development to complete. You give 20 hours, but what will happen if let's say you faced a bug, right? And it's now above 20 hours. How would you handle that situation? So it's better that if you estimated that project to complete in 20 hours, right, you give them 40 hours, or maybe between something between 20 to 30 hours, just so you do your QA testing and like all the other testings which you need to do, and then you know and then you hand over the product to the customer.
Right. And going back to what you said about your name, whatever has your name on it has to be like perfect.
Has to be the one of the
Cross
best
those
quality.
T's, dot those I's. Like something that I learned is to be very detail oriented, look at everything, proofread, capitalize, even just the littlest things, because it has your name on it and that's your reputation.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
yeah.
That is
So
something which I always used to do. So as part when I was an intern as well, so I used to even see the verbiage. Like if let's say if I'm working on a site and there is some verbiage and there is some like connectors are missing in a sentence, right? I used to see that comma, like everything, very minor
yeah,
details. So
right.
that might not mean anything for the customer, but those are a few things. If let's say if they are able to figure out 5 things, 5 defects in 5 bugs or 5 issues in the program or in the website or anything in the app which I developed, right? That means those are like 5 are really big, right? So it's better that we should have looked on all those things beforehand, even before even showing the entire or the final product to the customer. So it's better that um, we have a keen like we have a sharp eye on
Right.
the final product, and then do some internal testing. I used to test the product with Jonathan, with Massey, with Jane, all 3 of these, and then from other team, from security team as well, like not just within our team. I was working in the app dev team, but it's not for all the employees in the app dev team. I used to test the product with them, and then I used to test with the product with the other interns as well, the security intern, the service and intern, or the networking intern. So yeah, I used to test it a lot.
Yes, you never know exactly like what, whatever has your name on it, who's going to see it. Like I
Exactly.
have a great example actually. I was creating a PowerPoint presentation with a MHA resident actually. And, we worked really hard on it. And then a project manager that we were working with said, "Oh, by the way, the CFO is going to see this." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." That's why you never know who's going to see it. And it's so reflective of you as a worker. If there's a typo, if it's not consistent, it like reflects on who as a.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. This reminds me of the recent situation, the recent project which I completed last year itself. So we were working on a POC for the Salesforce chatbot. So I created the code and everything, like alongside the other team members as well. So the code which I wrote and everything, the functionality, our director Tony, he's really helpful with that. Looking into the final product, and then every other week, every week or every twice a week, we used to meet, the entire team used to meet, and then we used to give feedbacks, like why can't we have this, why can't we have that, if we are having this, then let's have this as well. So the feedbacks which we used to get, initially we were under the impression the chatbot will complete this chatbot and will fight against the outside vendors. But right now what happened, once we completed the chatbot, then when we showed the chatbot, the Cerner integration, the Twilio integration, like it was able to, you were able to book an appointment through the chatbot itself, with the functionality which we created, right, the project which I worked on. So we never knew that it'll be a big success when like all the C-suite employees, the C-suite people, they saw this, and then even Rod Hanner saw that, the CTO, everyone, they were really happy with this. And then we were also taken into consideration about uh, about the product for which they were actually seeking the outside vendors. So now we are also in that loop right now. So yeah, so that's no one knew, like even if you work on a very minor thing, you never know, 1 year, 2 year, or next day, who is looking into that product. So it's better that you perform one of the best qualities or one of the best versions of that product.
Exactly. And it's so amazing that this program like gives you almost access, I guess, or for lack of a better term, to these C-suite people that like what other program, there's not that many programs out there that give you I guess access to these people.
Yes. Yes. And what, since this is part of USC, so we have the contacts which USC has. So you get to, if you are developing something, then, or if you are working on something, there are many eyes which will, take a look at that. So the products which are developed, all the nurses, all the RNs, all the physicians, doctors, they actually use that on a daily basis. For the transfer center, or maybe for the radiology, or maybe anything, the dashboards which I created, or the apps which I created, right? So people are actually using that on a daily basis. So you have to make sure because when they submit the data on a daily basis, or when they use the app which you created on a daily basis, that means there is high usage for the app. And if there is high usage for the app, you don't want to create a buggy app which needs more maintenance than development. It's better that you create a perfect app, or near the perfect app, right? Just so you don't have to spend hours maintaining that app, right?
Right.
So it's better that, again, the same thing, you have to give your best version always, in whatever you do.
Exactly. So I do have to ask, what are you planning for the future?
For me in the future, what my ambitions are currently. So I recently got promoted to the senior position, right? So I'm going forward in the future, I'm trying to get more, because our team, it has two segments. One is the SharePoint segment and one is the custom segment, right? So I'm trying to be the bridge between those two segments, since I know how to work in both the sides, right? So I know how to work as on the SharePoint side since like in the past 3 years, and having the experience of the custom development as well. So I know how to bridge the gap between these two, and work on the architect level things, not really developing, writing code every time, working on the architect diagrams, or starting to understand things from a software architect standpoint of view, or maybe a senior software engineer or a principal software engineer point of view. So that's what my major aims are right now. And thinking from how we can integrate systems, since we have at Keck currently what's happening is we go to outside vendors for each and everything, right? So why can't we do it inside, right? So we can do it inside. We have the abilities, we have everything for which we can do the development inside, right? So right now I'm thinking on creating POCs and with different tools and everything, and then integrating different systems like Cerner, Salesforce. We have Cerner, we have Salesforce, we have Microsoft, we have AWS as well, right? So trying to integrate systems and how we can how we can save like millions of dollars, right? Giving to vendors, right? It doesn't make really sense, giving for a product which is pretty easy to develop if you build those things in-house, and pretty cheap, or like it doesn't cost you that much amount if you do the in-house development, rather than in comparison to what if you outsource it to the third party vendors, right? So for that, yeah, thinking from that perspective, from the architect perspective, or how to optimize few things, what the technology, or what the tools and tech stack we have currently in possession, how we can use those to the full optimization, right, and bridge the gap between these two segments.
Right. And that's amazing. Congrats on your new position. That's
Thank
really
you.
great. Would you like to keep working at USC?
Yes, for sure. Yes. You know what? I read it somewhere that I don't know whether it's true or not, but I read it somewhere that if you do your degree, like they call it, there is a term for if you do your degree plus you work here, right? With USC plus you work here, then you're a Trojan for life, right? So I
Yeah.
want to be a Trojan for life, and
Yeah, you are.
I don't want to leave that status.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Apart from that, apart from I think, yeah, there is growth. There are like many opportunities of growth within the team, within the organization, right? So if you have skill sets of, let's say in my case, if I have skill sets of the security stuff, right, I can move to security team. Everyone is pretty open. They are pretty accepting, like no, and they are pretty happy with your growth, not your growth, and your ambitions are always like always everyone supports here. So there is no question on that. So I think, yeah, but yeah, I think I will stay with USC for a long time, unless there are, but yeah.
That's great. Trojan for life. Okay. You have that title. Okay. And then my last question is, do you have any advice for students that are interested in, looking into getting an internship, or any final words?
I would say always have a to-do attitude, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't really matter if you do not have the skill set, but if you have a to-do attitude, then you can get the work completed. Just to tell you something, as an example, I came from core computer science, right? A master's core. I did my master's and bachelor's in computer science, right? So I have the core coding experience. I know the different tools and tech stack. But when I came here, I was introduced with something else, which is SharePoint, which I never heard of, right, in the past. That was the first time I heard of SharePoint. So, but if I would have said that I cannot do this because I have never heard about this, things would not have been like I wouldn't be here, interviewing. You wouldn't have been interviewing me, right?
Exactly.
So we need to have a to do attitude. So it's been like almost 3+ years, almost 4 years. I'm here right now, including the internship time. So right now I consider myself like a really, 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 advanced, having advanced skill sets in SharePoint. I'm a SharePoint administrator as well right now. So I do consider you need to have a to-do attitude to complete or work on anything. Even if you don't know, let's say if I ask you to work on maybe, let's say, one of a Visio diagram, and you have never heard of that tool, I would say just say yes, and go and look out for go and look out for a YouTube tutorial. It's not that much. It's a pretty straightforward video, right? And work on it, because whatever you experience, whatever you learn, it never goes to like it's never wasted. It might not be useful today, but it will be useful in the future. There are many instances when I've seen that. For example, when I was in school, so one of my friend, he was interviewing with a different organization. I don't remember. It's a big organization. He was interviewing with that organization, and they asked him. He had work experience back in his home country, right? 2 years of work experience. So in the entire 2 years of work experience, he just for 1 week, he just shadowed someone for a CAD, maybe maybe MATLAB, right? MATLAB. It's a tool, right? He just shadowed him, but he never used it or nothing. But in the interview, when he was interviewing for after masters here for internship, when he was interviewing, they asked him, do you know MATLAB? Have you worked on it? He just said yes. I have worked on it in my previous job, full-time job, and like that's it. And he got hired as an intern. Even if and there are many other aspects, many other questions which they asked him. But the thing is, you don't ever think, if let's say you are part of any conference, or you're learning something, and it's not being used, it's a waste of time. Nothing is a waste of time. Even if I'm talking to you right now, it'll be used, right? It'll be we are learning from each other, right? So
Yes.
everything is a learning experience. Take that as consideration, and just give your 100% again.
Yes, that's amazing advice. And, at least if you don't know how to use a tool,
Mhm.
I think you should show that you're willing to learn and put in the work to
Exactly. Yes.
learn that tool.
Yes. I didn't know the SharePoint, and then like whatever questions I had, I used to ask the SharePoint administrator, the architect, right, and the other team members. They used to tell me. So over the time and over the I came to know how to I looked into the YouTube tutorials, LinkedIn Learning.
Yes.
USC provides a lot of things. LinkedIn Learning, they used to have Linda in the past, but now I think Linda is part of the LinkedIn Learning right now.
Mhm.
And there are many other educational sites which you can access with USC account. So yeah, there are many other perks which USC provide, even to interns, not just the full-time employees. So yeah, those are the other things which will help in the future, the career development of an intern.
Yes, definitely LinkedIn Learning. I remember when Jonathan told me, he was like, if you have any free time, work on LinkedIn Learning, and it's helped a lot. You can even non-USC students can work on that. It's any student if you're in
Yeah,
college.
yes,
It's really great. And you can also put that on your resume, you know.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
I do use all the certifications which I got from LinkedIn,
Mhm.
learning on my LinkedIn profile. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, that's all that we have for you today. Thank you so much, Avi, for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and thank you everyone else for watching. You can find out more information about us in the description down below, as well as the Keck IS social media pages. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like this video if you enjoyed it. See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.